Welcome to Holston Valley Unitarian Universalist Church. I am the Reverend Tiffany Sapp, the minister of this church, and my pronouns are she and her. Today is a day of celebration, and so our opening hymn is Enter, Rejoice, and Come In, which is hymn number 361 in the gray hymnal. Please rise in body or spirit to sing hymn 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. There are 5 verses. I just jump right into the call to worship. But given the title and the topic of this call to worship, I wanted to introduce it by saying that this was written by a colleague for her church. So the reflection isn't about us specifically, but I think it still resonates in some really delightful ways. 6 weeks into the church year, I have realized that I am the minister of a church where things usually go wrong. This morning, the copy machine jams repeatedly. The bulletin describing the order of worship has been copied with the second page first and also upside down. No one has remembered to turn on the lights in the sanctuary before the service, so it is dark because it's raining outside. The microphone is buzzing and lets out a painful, high-pitched squeal which makes people wince. We have just started the service when someone runs up with a bunch of flowers for the altar, just as someone else runs in with one of the silk arrangements we keep for mornings when no one brings real flowers. There's laughter as the two flower bearers meet at the altar. They decide on the real flowers, and things settle down for a while, until a baby starts crying, which sets off another baby crying. And I try to speak over the wailing as their fathers hustle them down the aisle to try to distract them in the back. Usually I love watching these tall, gentle fathers who bounce their babies in backpacks at the rear of the sanctuary, but today I'm annoyed because I wanted it to be quiet and holy and lovely, and things are definitely not shaping up that way. The woman who is helping with worship gets up, and instead of giving the announcements, she introduces the candle lighting time, which is supposed to come later. People call out, "Not yet!" More laughter. The organist starts playing the wrong hymn, and a couple of choir members yell over the din for him to stop. And then a few moments later, in a time of prayerful silence, he accidentally falls on the keyboard, causing the organ to emit horrible gassy noises. Shrieks and snorts of laughter ensue. All pretense of Sunday morning decorum is lost, and something inside of me, some furious, bossy desire to have my worship service go according to plan, finally slides free, and I can laugh with them. This will be the first of many times that I laugh at Sunday morning details gone awry. It is also the first of many times that I imagine that God, whoever that might be, is watching, looking up or down or over or out at us from wherever such a person might sit on Sunday mornings, slightly amazed and maybe at a loss of words because we are so funny and wonderful and odd all at the same time. In moments like these, I imagine God as a sturdy old woman with her hands on her hips, or perhaps a rabbi pulling his long white beard, and I imagine a God shaking his or her or their head and saying, "What in the world are they doing over there? This is what they call church? What were they thinking?" But I also imagine a God who is touched and maybe a little honored by our efforts, however halting, to give praise. I imagine a God who is moved by our attempts to care for one another and to name the things that we know as holy. There is warmth in this congregation that is new to me, a simple friendliness that shines through the fumblings and failures, a love that makes the ragged edges smooth. I have always wanted to believe, really believe, that our mistakes are not the most important part of us. I have always wanted to believe that kindness and compassion matter more than anything. I sense that I can learn that here. Please join us in a moment of silent contemplation as we prepare for our time together. Thank you for being with us today. Where the warmth and freedom of summer vacation, maybe a little too much warmth, and I apologize for that. But this warm and free summer day and the glory of Pride's month beginning converge to invite us to celebrate and just enjoy life for once. As ongoing challenges and tragedies and injustices are ever present with us, maybe it feels a little frivolous to have a Sunday dedicated to humor and fun and the lighter side of life. But I want to make the case today that it is in the hard times that we need our sense of humor the most, and that this community serves its people and the needs of the world best when we create a place for renewal, acceptance, and laughter as much as a place for the hard questions. I have a tendency to take myself and all of my very important minister work very seriously. Sometimes it takes all the joy out of life. If you struggle with this too, not the minister part, but the rest, then imagine that this service is especially for you, which means that it's time to let our metaphorical hair down and see what delight might have to say to us today. We begin, like we always do, by playing with fire.
Under the right circumstances, playing with fire can be a delight. Imagine being gathered around a fire pit as the crackling flames invite us to talk, to laugh, to sing or roast a marshmallow or two. Our chalice also invites us to play, although with ideas rather than marshmallows. Our flame encourages us to explore who we are, who our neighbors are, and where we each are on our spiritual journeys. So today we light this chalice in the spirit of play. Let us trust the light to guide us in this hour and in the days to come, finding joy along the way. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Emily, and I am your service leader today, and I would like to welcome all of you with a silly little poem, brief, Don't Let That Horse by Lawrence Ferlinghetti. Don't let that horse eat that violin, cried Chagall's mother, but he kept right on painting and became famous. And kept on painting the horse with violin in mouth. And when he finally finished it, he jumped up upon the horse and rode away, waving the violin. And then with a low bow, he gave it to the first naked nude he ran across, and there were no strings attached. And there are no strings attached to our welcome to all of you today. We welcome all as friends. We welcome old friends and new friends, online friends, and all of you here today in person. Beloved, just as you are, just as you came, you are all welcome here. So do let that horse, metaphorical horse, eat that metaphorical violin, but please silence your cell phones. Please observe the perfume-free section. We do have activity bags over by the welcome table for any of our younger friends who might need something to do during the service. Just make sure to leave them back at the welcome table when the service ends. We have nursery for ages kindergarten and under. You can bring your kids down to the nursery after the time for all ages or earlier as needed requirement. Masks are optional, but totally supported here. Our services are recorded and on YouTube, so please stay home if you're sick. It's not even a big deal. We see you. Metaphorically. We'd like to invite right now all the kids, youth, parents, young at heart, please up here to join us for a Time for All Ages story activity. We are managing the camera angles so you don't even have to worry about being on YouTube. Please just come join us.
How are y'all doing today? Yes? Wondering what the heck is going on? So today I need your help with something super important. Our fifth principle of Unitarian Universalism says that everyone has a voice and a vote. We call it the democratic process. This means that we try to do things fairly here and let the whole congregation have a say in the things that affect them. This can apply to very big things and very small things. You all even voted as a congregation to make me your minister here 2 years ago. So today we're going to practice voting by rating pies. So first we need a nominee. Who would like to nominate a kind of pie for best pie?
Key lime pie.
Key lime pie. It sounds like there's going to be opinions about this. You had your hand raised. What nominee would you like to make? Was yours also key lime pie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, what would you like to nominate?
Apple pie.
Apple pie, classic. What would you like to nominate? Peanut butter, and one more. What would you like to nominate? Pumpkin. All right, I feel like we've got the seasons represented here. That's fantastic. All right, so now that we have the nominees, we are gonna need to vote for them, right? So we're gonna rate our pies by voting. I usually ask the folks out there to help, but I don't have time to count all the votes, so we're gonna do just the people who've come sit with us. Although if you all want to show your support, you're welcome to, because you have opinions. Okay, so you can vote once. Who here votes for key lime? 2 for key lime. Who votes for apple? 1, 2, 3, 4 for apple down here. Who votes for peanut butter? 1, 2, 3 for peanut butter, and whoever's like, when it's potluck time again, like we need to take note. And who votes for pumpkin? All right, 4 for pumpkin. Well, since there's a tie, I think I'm obligated to break it, and I have lots of memories about apple pie growing up. So, apple pie is our winner. Pumpkin was very close, though. So, we have rated our pies. That's great. So, see, one of the most important things about our democratic process here is the promise that we keep on working together even when our pie didn't win. So, if you don't like apple pie, can you still work together with the people who did rate apple pie the best? Yeah? Maybe? All right, we might have to do a religious education class on this one. But I appreciate your passion. That is great, you all. Thank you for your help with rating these pies.
Hi. Sorry, Reverend Tiffany, didn't we talk about doing a story for the special music today about pirates?
Well, yeah. I mean, weren't you listening? We spent the whole time talking about pirates.
Yes, we did. I said pirates, not pirates, like this. Let's see. See what I mean?
Oh no. Oh, well, this is embarrassing. This is a really silly misunderstanding I made. Karis, did I just ruin today's service?
I don't think so. Yeah, so what do you guys think? Did we still learn something today?
Yeah, pie.
Yeah. Well, we did learn about the democratic process. That is true, Karis.
And I think we also learned that everyone makes mistakes and that that's okay, especially if we learn something from it, right?
Well, but I do still kind of feel bad about it.
Well, what if instead of feeling bad, you find the humor in the situation? So can you guys help Reverend Tiffany out? What was something humorous about what happened? You already said it. I heard you.
You're humorous for sure, but was there anything humorous about the mistake that I made?
The play on words like pirates and pirates.
Yeah, it was a pun, wasn't it? I love puns. A lot of people hate me for it too. So, I do think it's funny that I mistook pirates for pirates, and recognizing that and laughing about that actually does make me feel better now. Thank you so much.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a special invitation for you all today. Instead of going back to your seats, if you all would like to stay here, we would like for you to participate in our special music. Because more pirates are coming. For all the big kids out there, if you would like to sing along, it is the words are printed in your bulletin for the chorus of the song, and you are more than welcome to sing along.
And this is the words if you all want to sing along.
Thank you.
Yes. There we go.
Starting up. There once was a church that was true and free, with responsibility, open hearts and open minds. Look at that little church go. Ho! Soon now the people will come to bring us just and joy and fun. Each day when the service is done, we'll use our love and grow. Begin they all with songs at Hyatt, chalice on earth is brought and lighted, service done and hearts ignited, to coffee hour we go. Ha! Soon now the people will come to bring us just and joy and fun. Each day when the service is done, we'll use our love and grow.
Inherent worth and dignity, the goal of world community. Support each other on our way, respect the web of life.
Soon now the people will come to bring us just and joy and fun. Each day when the service is done, we'll use our love and grow.
In our empathy and with our curiosity, we'll ask each other how and why, challenging ourselves.
Soon now the people will come to bring us just and joy and fun. Each day when the service is done, we'll use our love and grow. Da 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 da. Love's the message we have with glee, we have it with diversity. Forever will be our unity. Yay, church, we shout or groan. Soon now people will come to bring us just and joy and fun. Each day when the service is done, we'll use our love and grow.
You're invited to come along, from covenants and playful song to rituals and candle lights. Welcome with love and joy.
Soon now the people will come to bring us just and joy and fun. Each day the service is done, we'll use our love and grow. Da 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 da. Soon now the people will come to bring us just and joy and fun. Each day the service is done, we'll use our love and grow.
Thanks for playing along with us. Y'all can go back to your seats. I don't know if y'all knew what you were getting into today. What a a joy it is to be in a community that embraces creativity and laughter, and that you've come along with us on this laughter-filled journey. This is a time for holding those joys together as a community. It is also a time for holding the sorrows that are inevitable in our lives. If you'd like to share a joy or concern in person, please use these candle cards that are located on that back table. And if you'd like to share a joy or a concern from a distance, you can email minister@hvuuc.org. And we have a few. I received a candle of joy from several of our community members this morning about the lifting of the drag ban. It was ruled unconstitutional. I've also got a joy for our kindness community art project that we did at Blue Plum this weekend. If you have a chance to come at the end of the service and take a look at this tablecloth full of statements and images of what kindness means to the people of the Tri-Cities, it is a lot of fun to come read how people contributed, and it started a lot of really neat conversations at our Blue Plum booth the other day. And a candle of sorrow. I don't know if you all know about this because the news really hasn't been covering it, but the people of Guam have been just devastated by a typhoon. We've heard about it because there are people in our community connected to that work in Guam. It's really serious. So whatever positive, loving thoughts you can send to them, if you want to look up some ways to help them, please keep the people of Guam in your hearts. If you wish to light your own candle today, please approach the side of the table that is closest to you, and the closer candle keeper will assist you. And if you wish for us to light a candle for you, please raise your hand and I will acknowledge you, and then I will light a candle for you at the end. And we light our first candle for you who are not in the building, but are ever in our hearts and minds. Over here.
Watch your arms.
Wayne, I got it. Please just let me do it. Please just let me do it. final candle for all that remains unspoken in our hearts and minds.
Dear playmate in the kindergarten of God, please do not take life so seriously. You surely won't get out of it alive. And as for your buying and selling, your churches and banks, your newspapers and books, they are really of no more importance than the child's paper houses, red and blue wafers, and funny scissor things. Why, you grown-ups, all your possessions are just to keep you out of mischief until death, the good old nurse, comes to rock you to sleep. Am I not right? The child's paper doll lasts a day, and a copy of the daily paper lasts only half a day, or until the next edition appears. And as for a church edifice, it only endures for 2 days if made of wood, and 3 if of stone. In Egypt, I saw men unearth stone temples, and no one really knows what god these temples were dedicated to, much less why. The God they sought to serve is as dead as the folks who invented him. Take my word for it, dear playmate, this life is only a big joke, but we are here. So let's have all the fun we can and that which is given us.
Good morning, playmates. Good morning. How are we doing at not taking life too seriously? You're doing better than I am. That's great. For me, it's hard. It's very, very hard to follow the advice of Elbert Hubbard, the author of our reading. It's hard because there are so many serious problems in our world, individually and collectively. How frivolous is it to take time for laughter and humor and the lighter things when there are so many serious matters that desperately need our attention? The weight of it all can feel kind of heavy. And that is exactly why laughter and humor and joy and play are not frivolous. Humor just might save our lives. Physicians apparently love to study laughter because there is a lot of research out there. They say that laughter reduces the physical symptoms of stress. Even when it's just fake laughing, it still releases the tension in your muscles when you laugh. Laughter also boosts your immune system by releasing antibodies. It increases your blood flow. It can even increase your pain tolerance. And one particular strange study involving clowns and in vitro fertilization suggests that laughter can even help you get pregnant. There are people I love who are afraid of clowns, and I cannot even imagine them in this scenario. And of course, the mental health benefits of laughter are there as well. Laughter decreases the effects of chronic depression and anxiety. Finding the humor in things can boost our resilience during the tough times, and it even helps us in our problem solving by helping us move to a more positive outlook. It's really hard to solve a problem when we're wrapped up in our negativity, but laughter invites us to positivity, which sometimes frees our brain up to find a solution that we might not have otherwise found. This whole thing about laughter and resilience is part of why we find humor in the strangest places. The antics and joking in the classic TV show MASH are pretty in line with human coping mechanisms. The HBO hit The Last of Us gives us a similar look at humor in crisis through a teenager that is constantly pulling out a book of bad puns in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. That would probably be me. I saw humor at work in the hospital too. Like in the chaplain's residence office during the COVID surge, we were disturbingly funny. And in seeing the kind of improvised Christmas tree decorations that the overnight Christmas Eve ICU nurses did, whoa, that was something. Hospital folks are some of the funniest people I know, but it's a humor that they generally only show each other in those times of stress and coping. Humor can also be a powerful communication tool, using irony and satire to say things that are sometimes just too difficult to say. Court jesters used to be able to tell the king truths that no one else could safely tell them, even they sometimes did so at their own peril. And we have often looked to our modern court jesters like Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert to support us through our own strange political times. When we're claiming that kind of power to criticize and challenge through humor, there's an important rule to keep in mind. The goal of that kind of humor is to challenge the powerful, not harm the powerless. Fantasy author Terry Pratchett says it this way: satire is meant to ridicule power. If you are laughing at the people who are hurting, it's not satire, it's bullying. There's a lot of comedians that I like, and some of them are edgy enough that I'm not going to recommend them from here. But I do draw the line at using humor to bully people. That's something I take very seriously. But picking on the powerful, and especially those who hurt others, yeah, that works for me. With satire, humor can reveal things about power, but through learning to laugh at ourselves, we can learn so much about who we are and what we want to do. Our call to worship does that. When we take our turn being the church where everything goes wrong, can we laugh? Love our perfectly imperfect humanity? Remember that our warmth and acceptance are worth more than these details that don't always cooperate with our vision? Zahn West, a leader in spirituality and social change, has been working on the intersectional problems of poverty, and she has some great thoughts about this kind of environment that we're trying to create here. She told a group of ministers that I was a part of that in these trying times, one of the most important things that churches can do is create a sanctuary where people can rest and reflect, heal, laugh, and learn. She highlights our role in nurturing and renewing our people so that they can then go back out to the world and do the world-changing work that they are doing with renewed energy. Forming this space for laughter and lightening up is part of that. Can we lay our burdens down for an hour and laugh together and love each other? That is the big question. I love that this is a place where we get to ask the big questions together. And often our questions are capital B-I-G big, about what is ethical, about the nature of the sacred, the complexities of human nature, how we navigate big feelings and the like. But in keeping with our lightening up theme, today lends us to a different set of questions. Like, how many Unitarian Universalists does it take to screw in a light bulb? Or what happens when a Unitarian Universalist minister, a physics professor, and a rabbi walk into a bar? Or why did the Unitarian Universalist cross the road? That last one is the focal point of our response today. I would like to invite you to turn on your creative brain and, by working either by yourself or with the people around you, answer the question, Why did the Unitarian Universalist cross the road? Or if you're new here and you're like, I really don't know what this Unitarian Universalist thing is, consider why you would cross the road. It's a joke. There's no wrong answer. I welcome responses from the absurd to the poignant. There's a slip of paper in your bulletins, and I will be bringing pens and pencils around to those who need them, although I know some of you keep one on you. So you can write it down if you come up with a good one, all right? So we're going to take a few minutes to do this. If you've got a young person in your vicinity, I want to invite you to make sure that you engage them and even offer to write down their response. And I will ring the bell when it's time to come back. So have at it, y'all. Why did the Unitarian Universalists cross the road? For a second. So I cannot wait to hear what you all came up with for the big question. We have another special music right now that we're going to hear. And as we are doing the next special music, if you want me to come collect more papers, you can hold them up for me. I'm not going to get to read all of these, but I'm going to do my best.
Some people laugh through their teeth, goodness sakes, hissing and fizzing like snakes. That's a total attractive in my way of thinking. Some laugh too fast, and some only blast. Ha! Some just twitter like birds. Then there's the kind who can't make up their minds. When things strike me as funny, I
Y'all, I'm so proud of you. I have not had a chance to read every single response, so I'm gonna read the ones that I picked out, and then I might take a chance and just grab a couple random ones. I don't know. I don't know about that, right? All right. Why did the UU cross the road? To make sure the chicken had food and water, and then discuss what it meant to the chicken. Because we can't rule out the possibility that there's another side. To see what is on the other side, because they'll never see it after death. They didn't. They started their journey, questioned their choice, and are still standing in the road to this very day. To find the path least followed. Because that's where coffee hour is. You would be shocked how many times that was the answer. Also a popular one, to get to the protest. To make a UU turn. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because there was a vegan potluck on the other side. To move to the left side of the road. A few of my colleagues gave me some too, because someone made a commandment against road crossing. Because othering those who live on the different side of the road is just not acceptable. It is high time to do some border crossing, explain their understanding, and decenter their limited frame of reference. Here's another colleague who likes a good pun. Well, they crossed the road because that symbol just happened to be first. Then came the Ankh, the Buddhist prayer wheel, the Hebrew star, and finally, just as the paint can was running out, a UU chalice. The UU church was on that side. Protest. I can't read that one. I wish I could. To get on the bus to the DC Poor People's Campaign. To pick the flowers. This is a good one to end it on. Because the 9th Unitarian Universalist principle concerning road crossing was passed at the last congregational meeting, and I am empowered to appreciate all decisions concerning road crossing. Here's the thing about this exercise. Besides the fact that we just needed to laugh, we just needed to enjoy our life for a second, we also express a lot about our identity when we make jokes about ourselves. And I really like what I heard you all express here. Coffee hour is important. Not just because we need caffeine, but because we need each other. Protests are important, and we all do our work in our own ways. The minutia of how we govern ourselves is hilarious and important. It's how we build community here. So I am so happy to hear your responses, and I am going to look at the rest of them. Maybe they'll end up on Facebook or something like that. Not all of them. by some reactions, I'm guessing at things. All of us to be free to enjoy this world while we're in the process of saving it, y'all. That's what this is about for me. I want that for every single one of us, because laughter, it turns out, is life-saving work.
We leave blessed by our connections to one another, to the spirit of life. Walk. Whoa. Walk.
It's the church where everything goes wrong.
I love it. Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're so good. Walk lightly that you see the life below and around your feet. Spread your arms as if you had wings and could dance through the air. Feel the joy of the breath in your lungs and the fire in your heart. Live to love and be a blessing on this earth. Oh, Tiffany extinguishes the chalice, says my... Thank you for being with us here today. If you're visiting, we invite you to leave your information at the welcoming table if you haven't already. Grab a brochure if one wasn't already put in your hand at a booth recently. If you're a kid or a youth, we invite you to come meet Justin, where you normally would do time for all ages, and tell him something that you think is funny or why you think the Unitarian Universalists crossed the road. He'll let you pick a prize out of the basket. Sorry, all the rest of y'all. If you want to give feedback about the Unitarian Universalist Association's proposed changes to Article 2, you have 1 day left, and the due date is tomorrow. If you go to the news section of our website, you'll find a link to a Google form to fill out. After tomorrow, we will be compiling all the responses so that your General Assembly delegates can review them and use them to represent your community here at General Assembly. If you are interested in learning about other items that will be voted on at the General Assembly, we'll be having a Zoom meeting on June 13th at 7 p.m. where you can learn about other General Assembly business items and give your feedback to your delegates. But we won't be discussing Article 2 at that time, so visit the news page of our website to get the Zoom link to that meeting. And mark your calendar for Sunday, June 18th at 4 p.m. when the Covenant of Unitarian Universalist Pagans will be, I heard yes, will be holding their summer solstice celebration, and all are welcome to that.
I hope you'll join us next week when I'll be sharing the wisdom of Theodore Parker, a Unitarian transcendentalist and abolitionist from the 1800s whose work impacted the thinking of Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King Jr., and many, many others. But for now, I want to share with you a reflection by my colleague Christian Smith, who knows all about the humor that comes with raising tiny humans. Our family says the same prayer every night before we eat dinner as a way of collecting ourselves after a busy day. We say it together, and we always end with Amen, or rather, we used to end it that way. You see, for reasons known only to 4-year-olds, my oldest son was obsessed with talking about peanut butter and eyeballs for most of his 4-year-old year. My wife and I mostly put up with this good-natured thing that he had going on. But then our 1-year-old son absorbed this language. Our older son gradually grew out of his peanut butter and eyeballs phase, as children generally do, but our littlest one held this memory deep inside of him. One night, months later, our younger son, by this time 2 years old, burst out at the end of our dinner prayer, "Amen, peanut butter eyeballs." My wife and I laughed, we rolled our eyes, and we all started eating. The next night, again, amen, peanut butter eyeballs. And then the next, and the next, and the next. Each time our little one was as pleased as he could be, grinning widely and giggling. His big brother, who had started the whole thing, became increasingly annoyed. Stop saying peanut butter eyeballs. It hasn't stopped. Our little one says it every night, happy as can be. On those not so rare occasions when his attention is momentarily taken elsewhere, we wait expectantly, and he always comes through. Amen, peanut butter eyeballs. Our mealtime prayer is no longer complete until he says it. Rituals matter to us. Our family pray at meal times because we want to practice and cultivate gratitude in our lives. We come together to give thanks and to take a moment outside of the rush of our normal lives. I love that my children are taking it as their own, finding their own meaning in our practice. I love that my youngest son has taught me something about prayer, to be patient and to feel wonder, joy, and surprise. Carrying that energy forward, I wish wonder, joy, and surprise upon each of you this week. It's the hope of my heart that the perspective you need the most, the resilience of laughter, and the delight of creativity comes upon you and carries you through this week. Amen, peanut butter eyeballs. We've already seen once today that messing with the song lyrics is a creative and fun pathway to humor. A few of my ministerial colleagues decided to play with enter, rejoice, and come in this way when they asked themselves what would happen if they turned it upside down and made it a leaving song. And since today has been all about turning around and upside down and not taking ourselves too seriously, we are going to sing their version as our closing hymn. It's in the insert in your bulletin. Exit, go out, go away. We will also be passing the offering plate during this time, which helps pays for the things that cost money here, which is just about everything. We thank you for your support.